Hi, it's Kyle. We're looking forward to the Global Genes Live Rare Patient Advocacy Unsummit. In fact, we're hosting the first night of Rare Together, Watch Together on Wednesday, September 16th. Learn more and register at globalgenes.org. See you there.
Welcome to the Two Disabled Dudes podcast.
We believe life is about how we react.
All right, here we are again. Welcome back. I'm Sean, and we're going to start off with a little check-in on our one things. And Kyle, I'm going to let you go first.
Yeah, so last week I committed to doing my dishes every day. At the beginning of the year I committed to I know. I committed to a clean apartment, and my report for this week is that I did pretty good.
Nice.
But I have to admit that there was one night that I went to bed, I was exhausted, and there were still dishes in the sink.
Yeah.
It's certainly an improvement, but I know I need to take it that one next step further.
Yeah, and I think that's all it takes, right? It's just raising your awareness. If a friend comes over that night, then they might think, oh, you're a little messy. But if that's only 1 out of 10 visits and all the other 9 visits you were clean, then it's not a character flaw.
Right. But 10 out of 10, that's what we should be shooting for,
totally,
I think.
Totally. All right, my one thing was push-ups, right? That's something on my weekly score sheet and something I've committed to doing every day. And I will have you know that every single day I did my 50 push-ups. And
I'm nice.
Pretty proud of that.
Yeah.
But did
they get easier towards the end of the week?
No. There were plenty of nights that I just wanted to go to bed. And I would have if it wasn't for the recording last week.
Yep.
That said, this is what I'm going to do. So this whole exercise has proven to be beneficial to me.
Yep. Me too. Awesome, man. All right. Well, our main content for this episode is an interview with the Assistant Executive Director of Team Gleason. And I first found out about Steve Gleason when he was featured at the halftime of the Super Bowl in 2012. He was on special teams for the New Orleans Saints, and he blocked a really famous punt. And then he was diagnosed with ALS. And since then, there's been a documentary about him. He's made a lot of impact, sent people on trips, and improved technology development for people with disabilities. And then we recently had the opportunity to get involved with Team Gleason, and you will hear all about that in this episode. So we will let you have it. And here is our interview with the Assistant Executive Director of Team Gleason. His name is Blair Casey. All right, Blair Casey, welcome to the Two Disabled Dudes podcast. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me on. I'm excited.
You are representing an organization called Team Gleason. And can you tell everyone why it's called Team Gleason? Who is Steve Gleason for those who don't know him?
So Team Gleason was started after former Saints player Steve Gleason was diagnosed with ALS in 2011 after he retired from the NFL. When he retired, he looked at, and when he retired and was diagnosed, he looked at, what other ALS organizations were doing, and he found that not many people were focusing on the now needs and technology and equipment as it relates to things that would help him continue to live with this disease. And so, as opposed to putting his eggs in many baskets, he really wanted to hone in on the one thing that he saw helping people and helping people live a very long time with ALS. And so, in turn, Team Gleason Foundation was started.
Can you give us a little more background on Steve? What was his role in the NFL? Like, how long was his career? Why is he such an impactful person?
So that's a loaded question. As it relates to career, he played with the New Orleans Saints for 8 seasons, 2000 to 2008. He was a special team standout, played safety. He was an undrafted free agent out of Washington State University, where he played linebacker for all 4 years and he was a leader. He was one of those people that, on the field, he wasn't the biggest, fastest, strongest, but he was one of those really coachable guys that wanted to put himself in the best position to make a play. And he also wanted to put his teammates in the best position to make a play. So, you often see that type of person, that characteristic in a quarterback or a middle linebacker, right? Somebody being very vocal and leading. But they found that in Steve, and Steve continued to do that throughout his career. And it's not really often that you find a special teams player that plays his whole career with one team, right? And so, that was something that I know I was very much attracted to growing up, was this guy that for some reason, wasn't your all-star, if you will. He was the guy that everybody wanted to communicate with because he studied and studied and studied, and it was never about him. It was about everybody else on the team, right? And I just thought that was different, when I was growing up. I was really attracted to it.
How did you come to either meet Steve or come to work for Team Gleason?
So I played football at Millsaps College, and the Saints, they do their training camps. They do like a 3-year stint here and there. And so the Saints were at Millsaps, and I had actually passed his girlfriend, Michelle, saw her there, and she actually babysat me as a kid. So when I found the opportunity in, I walked up to Steve and I was like, "Hey, Steve, I know your girlfriend." And he looked at me and he was like, "How do you know my girlfriend?" I was like, he's like, "I'm joking with you, man." And I'm like, "Oh, thank God, thank God." And every day he would stop and talk to me, and it was just at that point in my life, 22, there were different conversations. Conversations about life, culture, relationships, religion, faith, school, family, and at that point, your mind at that age, you're very fortunate if you start to understand those concepts and the value that they play in life. And I just thought it was the neatest thing that somebody that I looked up to my whole life, you never really know who that person really is. And having the opportunity every day he would stop and talk to me, he exceeded my expectations as a person. So when I finished undergrad and moved back to New Orleans for graduate school, he actually called me, and I worked for him while he was in the NFL. And then I went on to be an accountant. And when he was diagnosed, his wife, since we were close, asked me to come be his caretaker and the accountant for the foundation. That has since evolved over the past 8 or 9 years. Wow, time flies. And to where we are now with the foundation and my role.
It sounds like you're certainly really good friends with Steve, in a lot of respect, it sounds like. And right before this interview, I just watched like an hour's worth of Steve Gleason videos on YouTube and whatever else there is on Google. And I encourage all of our listeners to take a trip down that rabbit hole, because it's a beautiful, beautiful place. One of the quotes that sticks out to me that I heard in a few of the videos I watched was, "In the midst of adversity, we find our greatest opportunities. We all face tragedy and adversity, but most often that is where we find our power and meaning." And that's a quote from Steve, and it, it made me tear up, and it really, really touched me. And I think that this quote really illustrates what we're trying to do with this podcast, and I love it because it feels so aligned with our mission and just the meaning of life. I mean, it's a really fundamental thing that Steve is hitting on there. So
It's a mentality, It's something that you can carry that and apply it to everything that you set out to do. I thought a great comparison is what we're doing. The project that how we got engaged with each other, right? How we came to know each other was we found an opportunity in a time of challenge, right? In a time of
Yep.
COVID, we have this project and we found an opportunity that I'm confident in saying will definitely benefit the future, and we're doing that together.
Well, speaking of Blair, let's jump into that project. The whole point, really, of having you on the show today, not only to learn a little bit about Team Gleason and all the work that y'all are doing to improve the quality of life for what you refer to as the now needs of folks with ALS. But what is this project that brought the two disabled dudes and Team Gleason together? What are we working on?
So Project Euphonia is a Google research project that is working on analyzing voice and actually increasing voice recognition for people with higher levels of disarthria. And so this Project Euphonia was started about 2 years ago, give or take. And what they're looking to do is to get people that have dysarthria to actually give them data samples of their voices, these phrases, these recordings, in order to improve speech recognizers. That's the goal. So your standard speech recognizer, like a voice assistant, whether it be Alexa, Google Home, allows you to interact with your technology, whether it be automation, whether it be navigating your Google page, whether it be writing an email, sending a text. By providing these samples, it's our goal to improve this model through machine learning that will allow people that when they're having higher levels of dysarthria, they can do whatever they want to do with their device. So all these individual use cases. So the goal of this is to help people be more independent through this project, which aligns perfectly with what Team Gleason does. When we got involved with Cure Duchenne's, we found like-minded people that wanted to set out to accomplish the same goal, enter two disabled dudes, and we are here now doing it. Boom.
Nice.
Why is Team Gleason well positioned to make an impact with this project?
The way that we differ, Team Gleason Foundation, from other organizations, is that we're hyper focused on this one thing, right? We want to find technologies and equipments that give people back independence that any disease or injury takes away. Team Gleason specifically is ALS. So we've been well rooted and grounded in all of these technologies, whether it be through a durable medical equipment provider, whether it be through a leader in the technology industry. Our interactions with people with ALS over the years has given us this insight into how people need this technology, why they need it, and what limitations they may have, right? Whether it be physical, whatever it is, we have to take into consideration all of these factors. And so therefore, Team Gleason has become experts, as we've been called. I'll never call myself an expert, as it relates to how these technologies are used in every different use case. And that's why these relationships have worked so well together with the technology industry, with Cure Duchenne's, is because we know we're patient-driven, patient-led, and that's our goal, is to find a technology that'll work better for the patient. And I think that's what separates us from most other organizations.
A little bit before, you talked about the focus on the right now. And I think, when people are diagnosed or when they're encountered with ALS or any other disability or rare disease, whatever it may be, there's a decision. And sometimes you can straddle the line between long-term research and a cure, and you can focus on improving lives today. And sometimes organizations do both, but it sounds like Team Gleason is hyper focused on the here and now and improving everyone's lives today.
That's an accurate statement. I mean, if you look at that need, I don't think that you can put enough attention to both as an organization. That's my personal feeling, right? The fact that we're doing this one thing, we're constantly improving it, right? We need research, we need treatments, we need a cure, but we don't have enough manpower infrastructure to support both of those. And so where we've excelled is, this is what we do. We're going to get better. We're going to continue to find resource opportunity. We're going to change, improve. And a goal that we want people that need these technologies to have it, early adopt, and use it how they need to over a period of time. If we look at ALS and somebody progressing, the different input methods you may have, your hands through your phone, your voice through a device, your eyes. It's our goal to make sure that people have whatever they need, they have a way to use it throughout their journey, us, Team Gleason, specifically ALS, but any disease or injury. If you use what you know, it's a lower barrier of entry. If you have to adopt something new, it's a challenge in itself mentally, right? And then there's the application portion of it. So I think that's what's helped us, look at why is it important, just to do what you do as opposed to do more than that. Is that people need this now. We want to change in the future, but what about the people right now? And I think that's what our team has done very well, and our partners. You look at Cure Duchenne's and the other organizations that we partner with. We have that similar mentality, and there's not enough time. There's not enough, effort put in. There's never going to be enough, just because we always want more.
Let's talk a little more about Project Euphonia. Why is it so important to get so many people on board? Like, why are you partnering with different organizations and lots of different disabilities for this project to recruit people to record their voice?
So if we look at, with the rise of machine learning, we look at what this technology was previously used for, right? For your average user, your average consumer that uses voice recognition, they have that data, that large amount of data that allows those voice recognizers to understand and trigger whatever you're trying to do, right? So if it's turn on a light switch, they've had so many people that have worked on those phrases that the voice recognizer is dialed in, it's precise, right? So through machine learning, we need data from people with disarthria, right? So the volume of your average consumer using it is exponentially higher to the very small percentage of people with dysarthria that they need data from. As soon as that data from people with dysarthria increases, the model accuracy increases. And so stacking more and more data on top of it will improve and improve and improve the voice recognizer. And so when we started looking at how do we do this better? Obviously, we know with Team Gleason, we're hyper focused on ALS, but there's so many other people, whether it be with an injury or a neurodegenerative disease, whatever it is, they're going through the same thing. And so we found the right opportunity with Cure Duchenne's, with the right people, like-minded people within the organization that had the same passion to change something for the future. And they understand what we need to do it. And we're fortunate to have partners like Cure Duchenne's, and we're fortunate to have people on the Google Euphonia team that want the same thing as that we want. We're not, when we ask for data, we're asking for you to help change the future, and it will with the technology. It will. And so I think that's where we align so well. And once people see that, more people will participate. And this thing will only get better, and that's going to continue to happen with these big tech companies, with machine learning and how we're applying this data. It will make technology better for people that need it for accessibility purposes. It will.
Yeah.
So when you say data, I want to make it crystal clear. It's as easy as anybody with a hard to understand speech, whether it's dysarthria or any form of dysarthria, right? Stroke, like you said, ALS, whatever the cause of your misunderstood speech may be, they record predetermined phrases and sentences and words. That's about
correct.
right?
That's correct. So that's
and
the
then
voice.
Google is taking that data and increasing or improving their machines.
Correct. That is correct. And so if you go to teamgleason.org/Project Euphonia, you'll see more information on the project. And there's a way for you to go participate. If you're somebody that does have dysarthria, you can go there and learn more about the project. You can sign up and participate. And we encourage you to do so because by doing this, you will be a part of changing the future of voice recognition. Right, you will improve somebody's life that has dysarthria. Somebody like me that just mumbles a lot, and being from the South and being a little Cajun, they don't want me. All right, I don't know why, but they don't.
I think it's a manifestation of Steve's quote. Like in the midst of adversity, we find opportunities. And because of our speech that is, quote, not normal and hard to understand, we find an opportunity to improve the lives of other people and to advance our entire community. I think that's an amazing manifestation of Steve's quote.
I agree. I mean, you look at disarthria, and me being around Steve and thousands of others of people with ALS, it's almost odd in the sense that I don't hear it anymore, right? I hear normal, right? There is no change in speech, right? And so I think it's also a way to change the perception of the future of people understanding this. People that are going to go help with this voice data, other people getting exposed to the project and understanding it, right? This is important. I want everybody that has dysarthria for people to understand, and that is normal. That's the new norm, right? Because for me, I look at Steve, and Steve in particular, people be like, what is he saying? I'm like, what do you mean you don't understand what he's saying? He's saying it loud and clear,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But when he was becoming more dysarthric, it was harder for other people. I'm like, well, pay attention, damn it.
Well, and you know what I love about the way you describe it is like there's almost two different things, like what somebody's saying and how they're saying it. Like it almost doesn't even matter how they're saying it. Let's try and make a better way to communicate that is a little bit more universal for everybody so we can communicate with each other, even though sometimes the methods might be a little different.
Absolutely. I mean, I looked at the first time I saw, the first model with Dimitri, a guy that Project Euphonia is working with, and he did all this work, and he actually has a phone. And when he uses his that has a personalized model, and he's put in thousands upon thousands of phrases, he is very dysarthric, but he does it, and all of a sudden on his phone, it's exactly what he said, right? And it's just the neatest thing to see the technology in action. And that's just one of the many use cases that this technology will have. And the sky's the limit with these tech companies. So we need the voice data. Without the voice data, these companies can't do what they're capable of. And we have big tech companies with the right people in place to change the future with us.
Speaking of Dimitri, is he the one featured in their sort of video, promo video? If you listeners, you have to go watch this video. Like Blair said, teamgleason.org/project Euphonia. You'll find all the information there. And there's even a video that features Dimitri and really features what Google is doing and how they expect this to impact the world around us. And it's moving. Like I get goosebumps just thinking about it. It's a powerful video. And I think it captures exactly the objective, what the end game is for millions and millions of people, not just a handful of unique cases.
Absolutely. I think it's a challenge to the community, with this project, people with dysarthria, please consider doing this, because when you have companies like this that are willing to put manpower and technology into it, we want them to continue to do it, right? And so the quicker we get what they're looking for here, the more opportunity will present itself. And that used to not be the case, right? We've been fortunate with the Microsofts and the Googles and the Comcasts of the world to have an interest in what we're trying to accomplish here, and so for our sake, for all of our sakes, please do it so that we can continue to change the future together.
And it's easy. You can do it right in the comfort and safety of your own home. You can do it with a phone or a tablet or a computer. You don't even have to get off the couch if you don't want to.
You can do it in your closet if you really want.
Do it in your closet. One thing I'm curious about, and this is really sort of random, but we're talking about feeding data, these thousands upon thousands, hopefully, of recorded statements that are maybe to the naked ear harder to understand. And Blair, you talked about all the Siris in Google Homes and Amazon Echoes and all that technology that's been easy for quote unquote normal or common speech. Do you think that all those tech companies had people record like normal speech to get to that point? Like, I don't remember ever hearing about this, so why wasn't I? Or even you, like you said, you're the Southern Cajun boy. Like, did you get to participate 10 years ago?
No, I don't even think I paid attention to it. I didn't think I really had one of those voice recognizers until I started trying to figure them out how we could use them for accessibility. So,
And they listen to us all the time, right? So,
how
you
do they do that? I mean, look, if you're going to capture that amount of data, where does it go? The cloud, whatever the cloud is not big enough to do that, right? Let's be honest. If you're going to capture everything that everybody says, where are you putting it? Do you have another planet where you store all that data? Because wherever this cloud thing is, it's got to be too much.
Yeah, and if it's in the cloud, like what happens when it rains?
Seriously, where does it go? Does it contaminate? Does it actually? What happens with all the information when it gets wet?
It works that way.
How do they dry the information? Right? Do they have like a huge Google blow dryer, Amazon blow dryer? Okay, the data's cool, it's clean, it's dry now. We can use it again.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's it. Wow.
We're going places, guys.
Yeah, I think everybody that follows this, we just taught you something you probably never even knew. So make sure you share it with all your friends.
And I do want to make sure our listeners know we're pretty excited. Blair, you helped us meet the folks at Google that are working on this project, and we're excited to bring Bob on the show next week. So Bob McDonald, he's one of the lead advisors or researchers on this project, and he's actually joining us on the podcast next week. So episode 118, if you're not convinced by all this amazing genius talk of clouds and rains, stay tuned. Next week we're going to bring Bob on the show and hear a little bit of what Google thinks of this kind of work and why they're doing it.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. We know a lot with our powers combined. What we just said, we're pretty top notch and educated. Bob, on the other hand, no offense to all of us, is the real deal. Bob is one of the most intelligent, passionate people that I've been fortunate to meet, along with some of the other great people from these other companies. Bob, when I met him early 2019, I remember him talking about, I think it was his brother-in-law, somebody in his family that was affected by ALS, right? And so it hit home with him. So it was more than just Euphonia. He is close to this cause, and the team that he works with is close to it as well. So we've been fortunate that Bob isn't just one of the smartest people that is capable of making this change. He's also one of us, right? And emotionally passionate, and he'll help us see this through.
Yeah, and it's amazing because it seems like there's a story like that with everyone on this project. Everyone's doing it for a specific reason, for a matter of the heart and for the people they love. And, so that makes us really, really proud to be involved.
Well, I couldn't be happier with you guys. I remember the first time that we had the opportunity to speak, Kyle, and then the next call with Sean. It's, we found a way to bring the best people together, right? And that's something that, I remember Steve always was talked about. He was the ultimate includer, right? But he did it, and he did it through this infectious, good way of making change, right? And he did that by increasing his inner circle with people that didn't just make him better. As his journey evolved into ALS, it was his inner circle was expanding. It was never about him at that point. It was about everybody else, and that's what I think I cherish most about Cure Duchenne's and Two Disabled Dudes. Our relationship it's a fine example of that. And as that grows, we will continue to see change. We will continue to see accessibility increase in modern day technology. So for that, I thank the both of you.
Blair, how do other organizations get involved?
So if you just go to teamgleason.org, and if you don't do the /Project Euphonia, if you go to teamgleason.org and scroll down, you'll see the link, and there'll be a link that you can get involved. So
beautiful.
We'd like to see more people get involved with this because this is one great example of what many future projects hold with the integration of accessibility into consumer-based products.
I think it's valuable to point out again. It's important for folks to get involved and to actually get online and do their voice recording because, like you said, we need thousands upon thousands upon thousands of voices to record these statements in order to improve and increase the likelihood of machine learning faster and more accurately.
That's right, and it's our hope that if we do this, not if, when we do this, other companies will adopt it, right? You know, I really sincerely hope and think that they will when this is done, that we'll see these other companies adopt this approach, right? And integrate this type of feature into their technologies, right? So again, our goal is to see this work with all technologies, right? We are agnostic because what people have, they know. I don't want to ask a user to change what they know. If I ask my dad at this point to go from an iPhone right to an Android, he'd never figure it out. It took long enough for him to get rid of his flip phone and go to the iPhone, right?
Yeah.
So we need to make sure that we're constantly integrating into every technology, because use what you have, and I'm confident in saying people will live longer in any circumstance if they can just use what they know.
So, do you think Google is interested in developing this software for flip phones?
You know, I had this conversation. We had like probably a big meeting with a lot of their executives about bringing the flip phones back and the integration of this voice recognition technology. You know, I saw a lot of faces pop up, as in Blair just had $1 million idea.
Yeah.
I looked around like, all right, guys, let's bring back the flip.
Yeah.
There were
man.
probably some younger people at that table that were like, well, what's a flip phone?
Like, and then you're like, if you don't know what a flip phone is, you sure as hell don't know what the brick is from Zach Morris, okay?
That's true. Well, Blair, as always, a lot of fun. You're an incredible dude. We love what you and Team Gleason are doing, and we're just excited that you've agreed to get on the horn with us today and talk through a little bit of life and what we're doing.
Look, I can promise you, I am much more appreciative than I'm able to articulate. When I had the opportunity to hear about you guys, and I was very excited about the opportunity to meet you, and both of you have far exceeded my expectations. So,
Awesome.
All right. Well, thanks, Blair, for joining us today, and we'll see you soon.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
That was a lot of fun. He's a funny dude.
I agree.
Just from, we've been on the phone a few times, but I feel like it's always been professional, So I didn't know that side of Blair to be a little more relaxed and silly and just a lot of fun to connect with. So,
Yep, I agree. Good stuff.
of course, we're at that point where we gotta give our one thing. What are we gonna do this week to make progress in our personal lives? So right now, Kyle, I'm gonna make a commitment that I don't want to make, but I know I need to make.
All right, what's that?
For the last few months, I have reinvigorated or resurrected my terrible habit of going to Starbucks every single day.
Ooh.
Which, I don't mind coffee. I enjoy coffee. I don't have any issue with the caffeine or a little bit of sugar or whatever. I think what's bothering me is knowing that right now I'm easily spending $35 a week on coffee.
Yeah.
And that seems ridiculous. So my commitment right now, this week, I'm going to limit my allowance to $15, which means 3 trips at most.
All right, nice. And that basically means you're writing yourself a check.
What about you? What are you going to do this week?
Well, so I've been riding my trike a lot on the weekends, but really want to get moving during the week, and I'm going to set up my trainer in my bedroom again, and just sort of, I mean, even if it's, 25 minutes, a couple days, I am committing to working out at least twice during this coming week.
All right, nice. Do you still row, or have you not been rowing?
I haven't been rowing, so that could be it too, that part of it, for sure.
When you talk about using your trainer indoors, do you take the time to like put your whole bike gear on, or just your cleats?
That's a good question. Usually I do it. I actually do it in my underwear before I get in the shower in the morning.
Okay.
So no, I do not put my bike stuff on or anything except shoes.
Okay, and I'm not trying to get personal. I'm just, when I set out to ride every week, during the work, part of the time suck is just getting ready to get on the bike, the clothing and get the bike outside and all that stuff. So that's why I ask.
That's one thing I like about the trainer is that, like, it's in my bedroom. No one can see. I just put the shoes on and go.
Sure.
So
just doesn't lend itself well to selfies, I guess.
No. If I do a selfie, I'll get dressed. Yeah.
Well, speaking of bike trails, or biking in your trike, is a perfect segue to my thank you note for this week. It's a little on the generic side, but just for cycling itself, I'm so grateful for bike trails and the efforts that a lot of cities and communities are taking or have taken to improve cycling safety. I'm especially with being in a low-profile trike, I don't want to be on busy roads. And I'm grateful to live really close by bike trails and have limited need to be anywhere near automobiles and roads. So I'm grateful that I have the access to ride safely on a trail.
I will second that for myself, and my thank you note goes to something related. My bike mechanic, oh my gosh, James Smith at Bike Sport, he's so awesome. I feel like he spends a little more time, and maybe he makes everybody feel like that, I don't know, but he makes me feel good about, talking through the issues on my trike and just spending the time to make sure everything's perfect. I got my trike recently back from him, and it was just a dream the way it shifted and stuff. So thank you to James Smith, Bike Sport.
I think that's the key to successful customer service. Make people feel good.
Yeah.
Whether it's, whether you're doing it just for you or for everybody, it doesn't matter. Because to each individual, they feel like $1 million, so they're going to keep going back.
Yep. Agreed. Thank you to Team Gleason and Blair Casey for giving us time today and just having an awesome conversation about how to improve the lives of other people. You can go to our show notes to check out all the links about how to find out more about Team Gleason and how to get involved in Project Euphonia. Speaking of Project Euphonia, next week we're going to have an awesome conversation with Bob McDonald from Google. That is one you are not going to want to miss. And until next time, keep living with urgency.
I love that. It was perfect. So all it takes is 4 takes. Easy. Just keep that in mind.
Thank you for listening to the Two Disabled Dudes podcast.
Find us online at twodisabled.com and subscribe on your favorite podcast app. Connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
special thanks to our friend and audio producer, Jake Tompkins.